Choosing which medical schools you want to apply to is a painstaking and time-consuming process. You must balance where you have the best chance of acceptance with tuition costs and where you want to live for 4 of the most challenging and exciting years of your life. Dr. Jubal, MedSchoolInsiders.com. The first factor to consider is your competitiveness as an applicant. As much as you may want to attend Harvard Medical School, your competitiveness will be a determining factor. Each school has different cutoffs and expectations for your GPA and MCAT score, but remember, these hard metrics are only one factor of your overall competitiveness. You also need to look at your soft components, such as your personal statement, interview skills, and even letters of recommendation. All medical schools use holistic applicant review processes that go beyond just your scores. While many schools use cutoffs for GPA and MCAT, having a high score doesn't mean you'll necessarily be interviewed or accepted. This is why every year you'll see official data reported by the AAMC of students with near perfect GPA and MCAT scores who fail to secure even a single acceptance. If you haven't yet taken your MCAT or completed your college coursework, do everything you can to improve your hard metrics. After all, better numbers are only ever going to help you. Ignore the misguided forum advice that having too high of numbers is harmful. That's only the case if securing strong metrics comes at the cost of neglecting other components of your extracurriculars and application. Research the statistics of recent matriculants for each of the schools you are considering applying to. Our free med school list generator helps you determine the best medical schools to apply to based on your GPA, MCAT, location, matriculant metrics, out-of-state versus in-state acceptance rates, and much more. You can even see how many people from a given medical school matched into a certain specialty for residency. It will generate a list of the best medical schools for you to apply to, stratified by likelihood of acceptance. Link in the description. By becoming the most competitive applicant you can be, you can put yourself in the position of choosing from multiple acceptances. Don't shoot for average, aim higher. Next, the location of the school is a huge determining factor since each city and state has its own culture and benefits. The vibe in California is much different than Nebraska. Do you enjoy the sounds and bustle of a busy city, or is a laid-back rural environment more your style? Plus, the school's location could skyrocket your tuition costs. Out-of-state students often pay much more in tuition and fees, and some schools accept very few out-of-state applicants. Again, our free med school list generator provides tuition for in-state versus out-of-state and also interview and acceptance rates for in-state versus out-of-state so you can make informed decisions. For example, Texas residents have a far higher chance of being accepted to schools in Texas than non-residents do, and this is true of both public and private medical schools in Texas. Typically, only 10% of non-resident applicants are accepted to Texas medical schools. So, if you are a resident of Texas, it's a good idea to take a thorough look at the schools in your home state. On the other hand, if you are not a resident of Texas, you can still apply to schools in that state, but your chances of being accepted are slim. The school you choose is going to be your home for at least 4 years, so do your research about where you're going to live. What's the city like? How far away is the city from where you currently live? What's the cost of living? What type of food is popular? What do people do for fun? If you can manage it, take time to visit some of the campuses and cities of your top schools to get a better sense of the campus as well as the surrounding area. Next, think about how you prefer to learn and the type of learning environment you thrive in. Everyone learns differently, which means the teaching styles of certain schools may be a better fit for you. Consider whether you prefer large or small classes, as well as the type of learning environment you want. Most schools have a mix of problem-based learning, team-based learning, and regular lectures. But there are unique circumstances scattered across the various schools that could change your medical school experience. Dig into online networks to ask about school programs, and if you are deeply considering a specific school, take the time to reach out to someone who is attending or has attended to learn more about what it's like to study there. The next factor to consider is your own special interests in medicine. If you already know what specialization you want to pursue, this may help you narrow down your best medical school options. Most strong medical schools offer a balanced and diverse range of opportunities for students, but there are some schools more well known for certain specialties. If you have a specific interest you want to explore, look for a medical school that has the most to offer in that area. If you're uncertain of the medical path you want to pursue, check out our So You Want to Be series that's dedicated to helping students choose a specialty. We've covered over 40 different medical specialties and career paths with plenty more on the way. And beyond specialties, what extra opportunities are available at the schools you're considering? There's much more to a school than just its curriculum. Does the school have clubs that align with your interests outside of medicine? What electives are you able to take? Does the school offer internships, medtech incubators, work-study programs, or exchanges? Do they offer additional or dual degrees, such as an MBA? How can the school assist you in reaching your personal and professional goals? Next, a school's prestige matters more to some than others. Of course, there's a certain prestige to attending a big-name school like Duke, Stanford, or Harvard, and some of those big names can have more weight when it comes time to apply to residency. Many prestigious residency programs care about your pedigree, meaning what institutions you previously trained at. For many, this is off-putting. But for those who are set on being academic physicians at an Ivy League institution, it's worth considering. However, that doesn't mean those big names will be the right fit for you. School fit, including location, teaching style, culture, and other factors, are far more important. Another factor to consider is whether or not you want to pursue osteopathic medicine. This choice will completely change which schools you apply to. It's also true that the statistics for acceptance to osteopathic programs are lower than allopathic MD schools. Osteopathic schools tend to accept applicants with a lower GPA and MCAT score. But don't pursue osteopathic medicine simply because you believe it will be easier. While the admissions process may be more forgiving of lower stats, DO students go through the same training process as MDs, completing 4 years of medical school followed by residency. If you don't have an interest in osteopathic medicine or are concerned that it will limit your specialty options, work at improving your GPA, MCAT score, and overall application instead. Check out our videos and online guides on the differences between the MD and DO paths, links in the description. The next factor is less important early on in your process, but it's still essential. Determine the tuition cost and the financial aid opportunities that are available at the schools you're interested in. Tuition costs vary considerably across medical schools for in-state versus out-of-state applicants. Many schools charge more, sometimes double, for out-of-state applicants, and there's a cost difference for public versus private schools. The average student debt for graduating medical students is over $250,000, which should not be taken lightly. Financial aid varies from school to school, both in the amount available and how and when you are eligible to receive it. If you are depending on financial aid in order to pay for medical school, carefully research what is available as well as the details surrounding the aid for each school. Many schools offer more aid and scholarships to those applying in-state. You won't know what your financial aid package looks like until you get accepted, so this will become more of a consideration after you begin to receive acceptances. Which brings us to the next factor. Tuition is only one piece of the puzzle when it comes to calculating your medical school expenses. Renting a 2-bedroom apartment, which would likely be split by 2 people, in Mississippi could be as low as $750 per month, whereas a 2-bedroom apartment in California will run you around $2,500 or more per month depending on the location. Additionally, factor in the cost of groceries, transportation, and lifestyle expenses, all of which vary considerably depending on the city you're living in. Last, but certainly not least, choosing what medical schools you want to apply to comes down to your own personal preference. You might fall in love with particular schools or certain cities, or you may already know that you don't want to leave your home state. Back when I was making my decision, I created my own meticulous spreadsheet to track the various strengths, weaknesses, costs, and other factors to help me decide which medical school to attend. But once it was time to make my decision, I realized relying on my gut was far more important than quantifying such a critical decision. My second look at my top schools was invaluable. I learned so much more from immersing myself in the campus, city, and the people who live there than what any spreadsheet could tell me. In the end, I realized out of the 3 schools I was considering, 2 of them were in the running simply because they were big-name top 5 ranked schools. However, one was in the Midwest and the other on the East Coast. The third school was a top 15 ranked school which still offered amazing training and opportunities even if it wasn't as prestigious in the traditional sense. Ultimately, that third school had an energy I loved, students and faculty I clicked with, and a city that inspired me. I'm so grateful I ultimately committed to UC San Diego. Trust your gut. Going to medical school often means relocating to a new city or state. Give yourself all the time you can to explore these cities to ensure you will be comfortable learning and ultimately living there. Med School Insiders can help you choose the medical schools that are best for you and then elevate your application in order to get noticed by your top choice schools. See how we can help make your dreams a reality at medschoolinsiders.com. Thank you all so much for watching. If you're applying to medical school soon, check out our guide to personal statements or the medical school application process explained.